Hi, I'm Christine Venus and I'm your astrologer. So, we're going to be talking about the weekly astrology this week and how it will be affecting our lives. We will be talking about March 14th to March 20th. Okay, so we've had a big couple of weeks with a lot going on. We had Mars and Venus conjuncting. We have had Neptune and the Sun conjunct just today, basically. So there's been some pretty powerful energy and still a bit more to come. First of all, I want to bring up the Sun and Neptune conjunction. I will mention too that we have a full moon in Virgo this week, so all the energy is leading up to that. I will go through at the end of this weekly talk. I'll go through each sign and where the full moon is falling for you and what houses, because we've got two houses, two energies with the sun and the moon, and how you can get the best out of that energy of the full moon and what it means for you. Okay, so the sun conjuncting Neptune. So that's sort of started the last day or two really intensely. It's conjunct, like when I was looking at the chart a few hours ago, it was at 22 degrees and 33 minutes and 53 minutes, so they're almost there or something. That was a couple of hours ago. So they're coming in for this conjunction, and it's going to be powerful for a few more days still. So the sun, is what lights us up, what makes us happy. It's our soul, it's illuminating something. And that Neptune is that dreamy energy. It can be delusionary too, and it can be also super healing. So this is where our dreams can come true, or we can see the fantasy that we're living in. It can be extremely healing as Neptune dissolves things. The sun is our ego and our core beliefs, so it's dissolving anything that's no longer serving us, within our ego and our core beliefs. So we can feel more tired as well because of all this Piscean energy and the sun there. The sun's our vitality, so the sun being in a sign that's more watery and wants to just sort of more go with the flow and just be one with the ethers or something like that, then it can be harder for us to have motivation to do anything. So it's more of a sign of rest, retreat, meditation, a time for going within. So this can show us where we've been deceiving ourselves, where we're not seeing things clearly, where we've been distorting things, idolizing situations or people, where we've let our ego get in the way of our true happiness as well, what we love and what makes us happy, and what genuinely helps us to shine our light. So our heads can get in the way of things, and we don't act from the heart, or we can just hold ourselves back because of fears and things like that as well. So the soul is our higher self energy, and coming together with the sun is our soul energy, and the Neptune energy is our high self energy. So it's those two coming together to birth something new. In a natal chart, a transit like this could represent a soulmate connection or something like that too, with the soul and the higher self energy. So it's a good few days to start something new, some kind of new healing practice or spiritual practice that's going to help you to evolve and help you to stay on track with your soul's purpose for years to come. Something that you can commit to that will, help you with shining your light and being in your best vitality and energy, and that you can be, basically. Okay, so the rest of the week, so we have, first of all, we'll have Mercury sextile Uranus on the 17th. So Mercury is our conversations, it's our thinking, our thought processes, it's our communicating. It can also be our short distance travel and technology and things like that. And sextiling Uranus, especially like Mercury technology, sextiling Uranus, which is like inventive, like we can come up with brilliant new ideas for technology, or for ideas for things, or innovations can come up for things that are for a higher purpose, that are going to do something on a great or grander scale, or to help humans or humanity, or to evolve us in some way. Uranus is activating, it's evolving us, it's it's shocking and surprises too. So it can be unexpected communication surprises, but it's a sextile. So it's of a pleasurable nature, you know, something, some kind of communication coming through that you didn't expect, that can be really beneficial, or conversation, or some information that you come across or find, or an idea that comes through that can really help you in some way, any of those sorts of things. So yeah, receiving some good news, finding a missing piece of information, stimulating, energizing conversations, good for group activities, connecting with friends as well, because that communication can be really stimulating. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury as well, so it's like Mercury plus the higher octave of it coming together in that sextile energy, which is, you know, sex is creation. It's not so much creation, but it's pushing us towards that pleasurable energy to sort of, you know, help us along our path in some way. So good for, yeah, getting together with people to like brainstorm stuff and all that as well. So March 18th, the following day, this is where the energy is all building up to. So we've got a few things going on. We'll have the full moon in Virgo. So this is going to be at 27 degrees in Virgo. So look to your chart. If you don't know where that is in your chart, go to astro.com. You can pull up your chart for free. You can see where your 27 degrees of Virgo is in your chart. Now, a full moon is is illuminating something, because we have the moon on one side of the chart and we've got the sun on the other. So if we look at the chart here, I'm doing this backwards, but up the top over that way, we can see the moon's up there in Virgo, and then we in the earth sign, and then we look down here, sorry, down here, the sun up there is in Pisces down there with Neptune. So they're in an opposition. Now, an opposition is us being able to see things from another perspective, and like maybe it comes from an outer source or from other people or from something outside ourselves, possibly. It's also a release point for that pressure that's built up from that full moon on Virgo. So the release point, the other perspective, you know, the other side we want to look at is that Pisces energy. So Virgo and Pisces, you know, it's that polarity, those two different signs, but with every sign we have those opposite signs, and they really work together, and that's the way we have to do things, is integrate the signs together to get the best and most out of our charts, out of the energies, out of everything, basically. So the full moon is in trine to Pluto as well, and also with oppositions to Neptune. And obviously, like I said, that moon is in an opposition naturally to the sun to create that full moon. So Neptune is down there, as I said on the chart over here. Neptune is down there too. So, so in the lead up to the moon, in the lead up to the full moon, the moon will oppose all that Neptune energy. So anything sitting down there in Neptune. So we've got Jupiter down there, we've got Mercury. So first of all, it'll be Mercury. The moon will hit Mercury, then it's going to hit Jupiter, then it's going to hit Neptune, and then hit the sun, and that's when it creates that full moon. So a few, you know, different things are happening before that full moon release, basically that completion point, that ending, that culmination. That's what full moons are all about, coming to, you know, the light of something that needs to be released, let go of, come to an end, culminated, completed, celebrated. It's a celebration point as well. Okay, so Mercury, the moon obviously opposing Mercury there, could trigger some intense conversations and emotions coming up. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you're not already, to keep up with the daily astrology. I post about how the moon is moving each day, where it is, how it's affecting us. You know, that we're governed by, you know, we're 70%, 80% water. The moon governs the earth, it governs everything. It really affects us, the moon. And following the moon transit every 2.5 days, it changes signs, can be really beneficial to, you know, living our lives. We can follow just the lunar cycle to get an idea of what we should do within life, and how we should, the way we can take, not what we should do, but how we can embrace the energies the best to get the most out of things, basically. And awareness, you know, having awareness of what's going on is one of the most powerful things, because, you know, it stops you from reacting, which is one of the biggest things. And reacting is, you know, most of the time it's a bad thing. You know, we're better off to sit with things and then you know, process them and go from there. But not so much that we, you know, procrastinate. Don't talk to me about procrastinating. Okay. Okay. So yeah, the opposition with Mercury and then the opposition with Jupiter. So I'm just looking at the chart on my computer all the way over there. And then the opposition with Neptune. So, you know, an opposition of Moon and Jupiter is, you know, whatever way we're feeling is going to be expanded. It can be, you know, quite optimistic and positive too, you know, give us another positive perspective to, you know, whatever we're going through at the time or whatever, but it's definitely going to be triggered by those. And then, you know, the Moon opposite Neptune is not what, you know, is not always, you know, the nicest thing, but you know, it helps us to face reality basically. Okay, so Virgo. So full moon in Virgo. Virgo is the sign of health, being of service. It's a helpful sign. It wants to be helpful. And you know, that's the criticism that comes across with Virgo, because they are critics. They can be harsh, they can be know-it-alls, they can, you know, tell you what to do and be, you know, always have the answers or whatever else. But it's because they're helpful. They genuinely want to be of service and be helpful. That's where it is coming from. They can see a better way to do things or whatever. And you know, and people don't always like that, you know, that positive criticism or whatever you call it, basically. So it's analytical. I said it's good for problem solving and being helpful. It can be, but yeah, Virgo can be so helpful and focused on like trying to you know, perfect things and whatever, that it overdoes things to the detriment of its health. So overworking, you know, Virgo is a sign of work as well. So it's like work, 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 work. That's Virgo. So full moon, you know, where we've been working too much, this is illuminating that for sure. Where if we've been working too hard in some area of our life, you know, overdoing it, you know, and it's become detrimental to our health, this illuminates it. Like Virgo full moon definitely does. So it's a detail oriented sign. It's good at getting organized, fixing things, doing things practically. It's an earth sign, so it's all about being grounded, dependable, reliable, loyal, practical. It's about physical things, you know. So it's a good time to let go of any bad health habits, overthinking, the monkey mind, letting go of the need for perfection, and learning to go with the flow and trust our intuition. So yeah, the sign can be harsh and critical, as I was saying. So it's where we can see where we've been too harsh or critical on ourselves or others. So that's being illuminated for us. So the sun is illuminating, as I said, what we need to let go of, release, heal. So we want to look at Pisces for that release point. So Pisces is sensitive, it's intuitive, it's creative, it's spiritual, it's wishy-washy, it's imaginative, it's poetic, it's psychic, it's dreamy, it's escapist, it's deceptive at times, it's compassionate, and it's empathic. So what, you know, we need to be looking to these things as to, you know, part of those things we could, you know, we need to focus on the positive things part of this, not those negative Pisces things. So what positive practices that are Pisces related can we embrace to help us with this Virgo energy, the overthinking, the analyzing, overanalyzing, and getting back into our bodies. So we need to embrace these two energies to and integrate them, as I said, with the polarity, the duality of signs and everything. Well, not duality of signs, but the polarity of signs. So eating and treating our bodies right, so we can connect with it on a deeper level. We can hear the messages coming through our divine channel, because that's what our bodies are. It's a divine channel. Yoga, meditation, breathing practices, walking in nature is like a huge good Piscean thing. You know, integrating them into a healthy Virgo routine. So Virgo is all about routine, and some kind of physical exercise is what will ground us. So it doesn't mean you have to run a marathon. It's never about that, but it's about moving the body, even dancing or, you know, something in some way. It's all about moving the body, getting back into the body, but it's doing it so that, yeah, it's not running so that you're like just focused on running crazy and you can't hear your body and listen to it in any way. It's about those soft movements, those gentle movements where we can, you know, still tune into ourselves, but be present in the physical and within, you know, in the physical, but then also let ourselves get swept away in what we're doing, but still be physical. I don't know. It's integrating them both, if you can understand what I mean. So yeah, that helps to ground us and connect us with our true inner guidance system, because that's what it is. We're trying to connect with our intuition, our inner guidance system, so that we can go through life with more ease. So the trine to Pluto, with the sun in sextile, will help the transformation and help with healing, needed for us to help us step into our true power. Pluto is all about power. It's always wanting us to dig to the truth and into the shadows to reveal our true intentions of, you know, what is motivating us, what we truly desire, what we truly want, what we truly need. These are all Pluto themes, from a really deep soul level. From here, we can begin to heal and we can face our fears too. So super healing for anything to do with sex and any kind of trauma around sex, power struggles, any of those sorts of things. Any power struggles around us stepping into our power and going after what we want. What is hidden can come to the surface to be released and transmuted into the drive we need to do something powerful that can transform our lives. We can feel more in control when it comes to the path we want to take. We can learn to trust our soul and inner truths. This is a magnetic energy as well, where we can attract what we want on a deep level and attract our soul's desires. So yeah, Pluto is super powerful. It's super magnetic. It, you know, it wants to destroy things so that it can rebirth something amazing and new and beautiful out of something that needs to be destroyed, basically. It's not always ending so much, but it is transformation and, you know, change and whatnot as well. But it definitely can be, you know, sort of tower card moments where it is things of ending and coming to an end. But it is a sextile too, so it's pleasurable. So if there are kind of, you know, things that need to be transformed and changed, it's not going to be as difficult and hard feeling. It's going to be more ease, because that's what a sextile is providing us, that more ease energy. A more pleasurable, easy energy. So pleasurable for sex. Okay, so it can also, the sun can also illuminate any psychological blocks that we're having and preventing our soul evolutionary growth. It can bring up some opportunities for healing of the ego through sex as well, you know, because sex can be super healing as well. Through deep intimacy on a soul level with another person. You know, intimacy is huge for healing us, and when we can get that deep, honest, true intimacy with someone else, it's like super healing and powerful for us. And when we can be, you know, in our deepest, honest, truthful self, and it, you know, it helps with healing our trauma, helps with healing our ego. You know, there's a healthy ego and there's the unhealthy side of the ego. But yeah, it's helping us to embrace that energy to empower and heal us, basically. And it's Pluto is, it's very about evolutionary. It's all about evolving, basically. But it is, you know, it's that darker, more hidden planet too. So that's pretty much the full moon energy. So I'm going to go through each sign shortly. We'll just go through one more thing for the rest of the week, which is quite big too. And then, as I said, we'll go through each sign, rising sign, for how the full moon will be affecting you. So March 20th, the sun enters Aries. Yay! So Aries energy. So we're going from the sun being in Pisces for a month now to the sun going into Aries. Now we have all the planets direct. This is rare. Like, the thing with astrology we have to remember is like you can ignore the energies and not take advantage of them, or you can be aware of them and take advantage of them and use them to empower your life, basically. So all the planets direct, we can use this energy to like manifest big things, to take action on things, to really create and what we want in this life, to go after our goals, our passions, our desires, all these things. The sun was in Pisces. It's the last sign. It was definitely a release point, a time to go within, to be quiet and gentle with ourselves, compassionate with ourselves and others, and you know, to see some sort of, you know, hidden sort of more other 12th sort of Pisces things within us, you know, there's more other deceptive things and whatever else, the self-sabotaging and the, you know, drugs and alcohol, that sort of side of it, you know, illuminating that. Now the sun moving into Aries is illuminating, you know, a different part of the chart and a different energy. And the sun is exalted in Aries, so it's like its favorite place to be. It's its home place in Leo, but in Aries it's exalted. It loves to be there, so it's getting the best and the most out of that energy. It's the start of the new astrological year. Sun in Aries at April, that equinox. We're starting the new year, the new astrological year. It's like, set your intentions. This is new energy to start new year. What are you going to do for the next year? And this is really where we can this week start to see what we're going to be doing for the next year. So Aries energy is dynamic, courageous, innovative, aggressive, assertive. It's competitive. It can be restless. It's enthusiastic. It's passionate. It's adventurous. It's driven. It's the leader energy where we can step up and step into our own. It's the warrior. It's the fighting energy where we want to step up for what we believe in. It can be what we believe in. It can be for other people, whatever it is. It's, you know, what we get fired up about. It's where we want to put our sexual energy towards creating, because that's what it is all about, that sexual fiery energy and what we put into it. Sometimes it can be aggressive, sometimes it can be passionate. It just depends. So yes, exalted in Aries. And we now have fire in the sky. Woohoo! Like, there's only been, you know, all that Neptune and watery energy. We've had that earthy Capricorn energy for a while and everything else, all that air energy. Now we finally have some fire energy. So fire is what fuels us. What gives us that fire inside. It builds up that warmth to get us going, basically. So exciting times. So yeah, it's really going to give us the drive and ambition to go after our goals, our desires, what we're passionate about. Aries is the risk taker. It's willing to be the fool, you know, and to try something new without knowing what the outcome's going to be, without having any fears of the expectation, and no fears or expectations. It's a fire sign, so it can be a little aggressive, selfish, and not put others' feelings or views into consideration, a bit more cutthroat. It's my way or the highway. That kind of thinking is very Aries-like. So we do have to be careful about, you know, burning bridges, stepping on other people's toes, being too, you know, nasty or aggressive, because Aries is a sign where they can just react and just say things and later on regret it or feel bad. And then, you know, that's when you've got to then apologize later on. I mean, you don't have to, you know, you can, there's, you know, there's a time and place where sometimes things like this need to come up in a healthy way. It can fuel that, but we have to be careful of that regret later on from reacting and not really, like, you know, just emotionally reacting and not acting on, you know, our true self. Basically, it's that you know, something's just like triggering us, because it's a very triggered sign. We don't want to, you know, act on things that trigger us. We want to heal those things. Basically, we want to reflect and heal them. You know, everything is a reflection, so we don't want outside influences to always be affecting us, because it's really just a reflection of what's going on inside of us. The more we can resist the outside influences from affecting us and from reacting, the more we are centered and grounded in ourselves, basically. So that's all the weekly energy. I will just mention too, I did speak last week about Mercury entering Pisces. This is like a 3-week transit. So we're still going to like 2.5 weeks of Mercury in Pisces. So although that Aries and all that direct energy is like super amazing, I mean, just wait till Mercury is in Aries. It's going to be crazy. But you know, in a couple of weeks, but for now it's still go time. You know, this is still really inspirational, inspiring energy. So just quickly, you know, Mercury in Pisces is where, you know, our thinking is not as clear and analytical. It can be more wishy-washy, too dreamy, and off with the fairies, not grounded, actually not here, you know, present, interacting so much. Our head can be in the clouds. We can not have as much attention to detail and not as able to absorb as much information. It's you know, too much stimulation, too much social activity can be too much, where we need to escape and we need to self-soothe and all of those things, because we're craving that calmness and peace within our mind. Our communication and thoughts will be more internal and harder to verbalize, harder to have more fluent conversations and say what we mean sometimes, and more misunderstandings and mistakes can be made as well. But our internal intuition can be activated more. We can tune into our higher self. Those messages from God, the universe, our higher self, our soul can come through more clearly. So there's, always good and positives to everything and every transit. Just keep that in mind, that more, dreamy energy is still about with that Mercury in our minds and wandering off into our thoughts and that, which is still good, which is like, I think that's a good energy for that Mars energy being direct now, taking advantage of it, because we need that dreamy energy to go after something. Otherwise, what are we going after? If we're not going after something that's from a spiritual, dreamy, Neptunian base, in a sense, soul purpose, soul base, and we're just going it from an Aries head view, then we're really just going after it from our sexual energy, and that's like from that masculine drive. So it's just like our desires, going after our pleasures and desires that aren't grounded in anything that can actually do anything for us from a spiritual nature, if you get what I mean. So we're going to go through each of the signs now where this full moon is happening for you. So we're going to be looking at Virgo in your chart and where the Pisces energy is. Now you want to be looking at your rising sign first of all, the ascendant sign where the first house is. That is the sign you want to listen to. If you're a later degree sign or whatever, you can listen to the next sign as well. But otherwise, that's where you want to look. You can look for your sun for a bit more information. The moon's more an internal sort of view of it and what you're feeling emotionally. But definitely, the rising and maybe a bit of more information if you want some topics, about the sun, basically. Okay, so for Aries rising. This is going to be the full moon in Virgo in the 6th house with the opposition where the sun is in the 12th house. So 6th house is all about our work, our daily practices, what we're doing on on our daily routine, our health and wellness, our well-being. So, releasing any bad habits with any of those things, letting go, ending point, culmination, anything to do with any of those themes. And then where the sun is, where that release point is, where we can look to for another perspective that can help us, is that Pisces. So that's 12th house. So that's, those themes, like the 6th and the 12th is representative of that Pisces and Virgo energy. So it's retreat, it's meditation, it's yoga, it's connecting with God, universe, source, it's any kind of healing or spiritual practices, any kind of religious practices, anything that connects you back to yourself, your higher self, God, universe, whatever it is, the creator, and anything that, takes you away to heal and retreat and rest and recuperate and to reflect as well. Okay, so for Taurus and Taurus rising. So this will be full moon in Virgo in the 5th house and the sun in Pisces in the opposition in the 11th house. So the 5th house where you're releasing, letting go of, it's an ending point, it's coming to a culmination, a completion, a celebration, all of those things for you. Is 5th house is love and romance, it's our hobbies, and it's our passions, it's anything to do with children, it's the inner child and inner self, it's our creativity as well. So any of those sorts of things, where that release point is, where that other perspective, where the healing can happen, is that 11th house, which is friends. So another perspective or conversation that you have with a friend that gives that other perspective, basically. It's also our social groups and connections, it's any communities or groups that we're a part of, anything we're doing for a bigger, higher purpose, it's our aspirations. So any of those things. Okay, so for Gemini and Gemini rising, this will be in the 4th house, the full moon in Virgo. So where you're releasing, letting go of, where you're completing something, coming to a celebration, a culmination point. is fourth house, which is home, family, property. It's our ancestry. It's where we go to retreat and have that safe place for ourselves. It's our our place. Yeah, it's just a place where we nurture and care for us, our home, our family, any of those sorts of things. Now that release point where we can get another perspective, where the healing can happen for you, is the 10th house. So it's the career, it's the work, it's the goals, it's what you're wanting to achieve out in the world, what you're wanting to build, it's your reputation, it's the legacy that you want to leave behind. Okay, so for Cancer, Cancer rising. So the full moon where you're releasing, letting go, where you're coming to a completion, a culmination point, an ending for you, a celebration, is the third house, which is communication. It's our thoughts and thought processes. So, releasing any kind of toxic thoughts and thought patterns that you've been having, or any overthinking tendencies or anything like that. Any kind of like communication, cutting off any kind of like bad communication or messages or emailing that you've been doing or anything like that, or any kind of like bad even like attitudes and that you've been having that are really not serving you when you're dealing with people and interacting with others or something like that, who knows. But it can also be our short distance travel, local environment. It can be our siblings as well. Now, the release point, the healing, the other perspective for you can be the ninth house. And the ninth house is higher education. So the third house can be short courses as well. The third house is longer courses like and our higher education. It's our learning and our growth. It's our beliefs. It can be marriage, and it can also be, the teacher or a guru coming into our life that can help us or heal us in some way. Okay, so for Leo and Leo rising, so the full moon, the releasing, the ending, the letting go, the culmination point, what's coming to an end. And remember, make sure you listen back to the main part so that you know what these themes are for Virgo, which is, all about the health and the routines and all that stuff. So it's second house, so you're releasing, letting go of, culmination, ending point, completion, celebration around your finances and money, something to do with your self-worth and confidence, anything to do with property and real estate, anything to do with your gifts and skills and abilities. Now, where the healing can happen, where the release point, the other perspective is for you, is going to be that 8th house of other people's property and finances, your partner's money and finances. It can be banks, inheritances, insurances, taxes. It can be any kind of trauma and healing, any kind of sex and power struggles, anything to do with transformation, and anything to do with, that is, things that are topics that are taboo or things that are like occult-like as well. Okay, so for Virgo and Virgo rising, so where the full moon, the releasing, the letting go, the culmination point, the ending, completion, all of that celebration for you is the first house. So that's all about you, yourself. It could be, you releasing and letting go of, the way that you're dressing and putting yourself out there and appearing. It could be you wanting to change things, just ending it and wanting to come out as a new person or something. Or it's just, the way that you're putting yourself out there, the way that your personality is coming across, the way that you're presenting yourself, is there's something, ending or changing with that. There's something within you. It's all about you. So something within you that's really changing. It could just be a whole new you, like you're ending and completion. And, whenever there's ending, there's always going to be some kind of new beginning at some point. And that's, within that next 6 months, when we come to that new moon in Virgo, that's the new beginning from that ending of that full moon. So the 7th house, which is the release point, it's the other perspective, where the healing can happen for you, is the 7th house. So that's relationships, that is you're relating with others, it's your business contracts, business partnerships, those sorts of things. So there can be some healing within relationship, or a relationship can give you another perspective on yourself, and it helps to heal something within that. So for Libra rising, this is the 12th house. So where you're releasing, letting go of, where the ending's happening for you, where you're coming to a completion, an ending point. For you, it's in the 12th house, which is The 12th house is our psychological state, it's our mental state, it's our connection with God, the universe, our higher self. It's our hidden place that we go to, like retreat and hide away, where we go to escape. It can also be institutions and hospitals, any kind of places where we go to heal, and our spiritual connection and practices and things like that too. So releasing and letting go there, and because we're talking about releasing and letting go, 12th house is like bad habits, bad behaviors, any kind of like self-sabotaging and anything like that too with 12th house. 6th house now, where we want to get another perspective, where we want to have some healing, and where the release point is for you is the 6th house, and that's what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Can be your work, it can be having better routines routines and daily practices. It's getting your health in order, possibly exercising, maybe eating better, anything to do with your health and well-being, getting more organized, any of those sorts of things. So for Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this is going to be in the 11th house. So the 11th house is the releasing point, the completion, the ending, the letting go, the celebration, or whatever it is for you, would be around friends, friendship groups, friendship circles, your communities, any organizations you're a part of, what you're doing on a bigger, higher purpose, for a bigger, higher purpose, your aspirations, any of those things. Focusing on no's can be super healing for you, or looking for something in no's that can help with healing that. So for Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising, this is going to be in the 10th house, full moon, releasing, letting go, culmination point and ending. A celebration for you is career, through your work, through your goals, what you're trying to build, what you're trying to create. It could be through your reputation, your social status. It could be through your goals, and ending some goals, or completion, celebration of some goals that are finishing or ending or completed for you, or something like that. Where the release point is, where the other perspective is, where the healing can happen for you, is going to be the 4th house of home and family, and it could be overworking, because we're talking about that Virgo and overworking energy and not looking after our health. Whereas more time, you need more to focus on more time of creating a safe space to heal and have somewhere that you can comfort yourself. So spending more time at home maybe, or something like that. And yeah, anything to do with home and family and our heritage and ancestors and our property and our safe place, basically. Where we mother and nurture ourselves. So for Capricorn, Capricorn rising, this is happening in the 9th house. The 9th house is our the 9th house is our higher learning and education. It's our beliefs. It's any kind of gurus or teachers in our life. It's our philosophy and our the part of us that wants to know and learn more, basically wants to expand and grow. And it can be marriage as well. So completion, letting go, ending, celebration, culmination point, any of those themes. And then the 3rd house, where the release point is, where we can get another perspective, where we can have some healing, is the 3rd house. So communication, so talking to someone, or communicating something with someone, can be super healing for you, or writing or journaling, or 3rd house theme, so like learning something new, or receiving some kind of information, going for a short drive somewhere or something like that, possibly. Any of those sorts of things, getting into your local environment. So for Aquarius rising, this is the 8th house. So the 8th house is all about, a full moon, releasing, ending, letting go, culmination point, completion, celebration for you in the 8th house. The 8th house is where we have trauma. It's things to do with sex and power struggles. It's also where we do like occult practices, where we have a side of us that's more the things that are like taboo and hidden, and secrets and stuff like that. It's also represents banks, institutions, inheritances, insurances, finances, other people's money and resources, our partner's money and resources. It's transformation, it's healing, all those sorts of things. So that's where you're going to be, you know, having an ending or a letting go, releasing something there. And then where you can look for the healing, the release point, the other perspective is the second house of your skills and abilities. So maybe no longer relying on someone else's resources, now having to rely on your own resources, your inner resources, to provide that finance and financial stability for yourself. It's also, yeah, our confidence and self-worth. It's our property and resources, and yeah, and it's that money house in general for us, where we can use our skills and abilities to create financial stability. So Pisces, this is the ending, completion, celebration, culmination point for you with this full moon in Virgo is in the 7th house. So the 7th house is our relationships, our partnerships, how we relate to others. So completion, ending, anything with any of those things. And the 1st house is where you're going to have that release point, that other perspective, where you're going to have some kind of healing. And that's all about you, all around yourself. So it's like healing you in some way, or looking at yourself from another perspective, or what else do we say? Some healing, another perspective, or, you know, something within yourself that can be released or changed, that can help balance out that 7th house, because it's all about creating that balance with these polarities too. So where, you know, something within yourself is going to help you to release and let go of those themes around the 7th house. So you know, we're talking about Virgo energy, remember? So it's all about our health, it's all about our well-being, it's all about our mind and our overthinking and our over-analyzing of things, and, you know, where we're releasing and letting go of, you know, where we're not enabled and not allowing ourselves to be connected and grounded and in tune with ourselves, basically. Okay, so that's it for all the signs. I hope you have an amazing week. Take care. Remember to just be gentle and nurture yourself, and just be true to your heart and what makes you happy, because that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day, is your own true happiness. You can't live off someone else's happiness. All right, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.